welcome to Showcase TRT World's daily arts and culture programme, coming to you from the 53rd International Antalya Film Festival. We'll be here all week to keep you up to date with what's going on at the festival. Let's get started. Certain Women, a drama about three women living in Montana, won the top prize at the London Film Festival as it wrapped up over the weekend. 12 Years a Slave director Steve McQueen also received a major award.
I've never done this before. Guess we'll just start at the beginning.
A film about three women struggling with life in a Montana town won Best Film at the London Film Festival.
It'd be so lovely to think that if I were a man, people would listen and say, okay. It would be so restful.
The jury praised Certain Woman for its masterful imagery and quiet modesty. It stars Michelle Williams, Kristen Stewart and Laura Dern.
We've known about this for decades, for over half a century. Try to have a conversation with anyone about climate change. People just...
Leonardo DiCaprio was also in London to promote his climate change documentary Before the Flood. The Oscar-winning actor explained how he approached director Fisher Stevens with the idea 3 years ago.
Look how violent that is.
And I came to Fisher and I essentially said, I want to do a climate change film for the people, where I position myself as a citizen of the world that may be able to get contacts with a lot of interesting people, scientists and political leaders worldwide, and try to convey the information and science of climate change to the general public in a different way.
Amy Adams and Aaron Taylor-Johnson joined Tom Ford for the London premiere of his latest movie, Nocturnal Animals.
My ex-husband used to call me a nocturnal animal. I've been thinking about him a lot lately. And then recently he sent me this book that he's written. It's violent and it's sad, and he dedicated it to me.
It's the second film the fashion designer has directed.
Maybe I'm almost a little paranoid about keeping them separate, because filmmaking for me isn't a hobby. It's something I'm very serious about, and I want to be taken seriously as a filmmaker. So they are separate. However, that having been said, the skill set that you need for both is surprisingly similar.
And Michael Fassbender took to the red carpet for the screening of his new film, Trespass Against Us.
Got potentials.
The Irish-German actor was also there to honour his longtime collaborator, Steve McQueen. The 12 Years a Slave director was presented with the British Film Institute's Fellowship Award, its highest honour.
You know, London, my hometown, London Film Festival, the BFI, a place I went to when I was a young man, and yeah, it's great. It's a wonderful honour.
Little bit rude, eh? Chipping the bird there.
The 60th edition of the London Film Festival closed out with a screening of Free Fire, a comic thriller set in the 70s starring Cillian Murphy.
Life of Pi director Ang Lee made heads turn at the New York Film Festival. His new drama about a war hero's return home was shot at a high definition never seen before. Is it the future or a flop?
Ang Lee is no stranger to innovative technology. From making Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon to Life of Pi, his filmmaking techniques have pushed boundaries. His latest movie, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, was filmed at a whopping 120 frames per second, more than 5 times the rate of traditional movies. The result is an intimacy that almost puts you in the skin of the characters. It suits the story, which focuses on an American soldier. His heroic actions in Iraq make him a star overnight, and he and his squad are brought home on a promotional tour.
This is not a spectacle, it's a revelation. It's really like truly trying to get closer to a subject than anyone has gotten. And as an actor, that's all I want to do, is I want to be purely visible.
The story culminates with Lynn's appearance at an American football game. The hype contrasts with flashbacks to what happened to his squad in Iraq.
It puts a young soldier's sensation from the battlefield to a halftime show. It's just a great dramatic set up to examine humanity, to examine society. I think it's a very timely subject matter too.
The filming process was cumbersome, and Lee insisted on casting an unknown actor for the lead to give the film a more authentic feel.
Well, I had no experience in making a film before, so it was kind of a norm for me. It was a little strange. The cameras were very, very big, and I could tell it wasn't a normal experience, but for other people who had done a lot more, for them coming into it, I think it was probably a little more to adjust to for them because they were so used to making a normal movie.
Critics didn't like the new technique when the movie was shown at the New York Film Festival, but the more experienced members of the cast appreciated the hyper-real result.
A lot more honest. There's no makeup, there's no... every detail in your face is on the screen. That's kind of surreal, kind of unnerving a little bit, and different for an actor. But it was very cool.
James Cameron is also a fan and wants to shoot his Avatar sequels with the new technology, but it's still in its early stages. Only 2 theatres in the US are equipped to show Billy Lynn's long halftime walk in as high a definition as Lee filmed it. The rest of the theatres will show different versions when it goes into release in 3 weeks.
The 53rd International Antalya Film Festival started on Sunday with a red carpet gala. Miranda Atti was there to keep up with all the action.
The International Antalya Film Festival is Turkey's biggest cinematic event. It's a meeting place for directors, producers and actors. And its Golden Orange Awards attract global attention. This year, French actor Audrey Tautou is being given a Golden Orange Honorary Award for her services to film. Ahead of the awards ceremony, she spoke to the press.
Well, I'm very impressed and very honored to be here, also because it's always very precious that everywhere in some places in the world we can show and screen some movie from all over the world. It's a way to open a new window to a different culture, and all the people who fight to make those amazing events happen. It's always a joy and very, very precious.
The first Antalya Film Festival took place in 1963. The organisers hoped it would help Turkish producers gain recognition on an international stage. And the winner of last year's special jury award, the Code of Calendar, is now nominated to represent Turkey at the 2017 Oscars. The judges this year in Antalya include actors Andy McDowell and Rutger Hauer, and the jury is headed by director Hugh Hudson. 39 films, a mixture of national and international work, will be screened throughout the week. 10 films from Europe, Central Asia and the Mediterranean are nominated for the International Film Awards. But it is the national competition that is at the heart of the festival, with 12 new Turkish movies competing for Best Film.
Antalya is the face of Turkish cinema. Here in Antalya, Turkish movies have their first screenings, like a bride to be showing herself for the first time to her suitors. It's very important for the industry. The festival gives us a direction. It's the oldest film festival in Turkey. That's why it's very important for us.
Emel Sayın is known as the Western face of classical Turkish music. Perhaps most famous as a singer, she was also a popular actor in the 60s and 70s. We caught up with her on the red carpet to find out how she felt about being a recipient of the festival's Lifetime Achievement Award.
I'm so happy. This award is very important for me. I'm a musician, but for the first time, the subject is cinema, and I'm receiving an award. It's amazing. I'm really thankful.
The winners of the national and international competitions will be announced at the festival's closing ceremony on Sunday. Miranda Atti, TRT World, Antalya.
And our broadcast from the 53rd International Antalya Film Festival continues, and we now have the festival's director, Elif Dağdeviren, with us. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for asking me to come.
Well, we had to, you're the director. The Antalya Film Festival is one of the older and more established festivals in the world. Tell us a little bit about its history.
Yeah, sure. As you said, it's one of the oldest. Actually, it is the oldest. And the reason that this festival had began at the first place was the older will remember that once upon a time it was very hard to see the films in Turkish cities other than Istanbul, of course. The distributors were not able to show the films in the other cities. So Antalya Film Festival started as a social responsibility project to bring all of those films to the Antalya people to see those films, those very successful films, at once in a week. So it started with like the concerts, film festivals, and so many events going on around it. But after a while later, it only focused on the film festival, the film screening part. And during the first period of Menderes Türel, the mayor, he had the vision of making the film festival an international one, because Antalya is a very important city all around the world, and this would be underlining the importance of this city all around the world because it's a popular culture. And then he said, let's make it an international one. So it started to be the International Antalya Film Festival during that period of time. And now it's his second term, and he really wants to push it more because his vision is to make Antalya the capital, one of the capitals of the cinema all around the world.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us about your vision when you started working on the festival in its 53rd edition this year.
I'm a film producer at the same time, so being a film producer, I know what is needed for the industry people. So when first Menderes Türel asked me to be the director of the festival, that's what I had in my mind. I'm so sorry, we were not sleeping for a very long time, so my Turkish, English all mixed up together. So this is why I'm hesitating from time to time. Mm-hmm. The thing is, I lived in Antalya once upon a time, so I know what Antalya people want from the festival, and I know what industry wants from the festival. And since a festival goer for the last 20 years maybe, because I was traveling with my own films, and I used to be a journalist like yourself, so I was traveling the festivals as a journalist also. I can see all the perspectives and I know what's needed. So when they told me that we need to underline being the international festival, so I said that okay, we can put the perspective inside of it. First, from the Antalya point of view, bringing more films that they can watch and they like, and bringing more people that they want to meet, and like question and answer event kind of things, they can meet together, being together with those people. And on the other hand, I said that we can invite industry here from all around the world, but the reason they have to come here is we need to provide them with something else other than making them to watch the films, which we started Antalya Film Forum under the direction of world famous producer Zeynep Atakan. She is a producer of Nuri Bilge Ceylan. So she started this Antalya Film Forum with a great success, and it will be this year the 3rd edition. And now we can see that for the last 2 years, all the films passed through Antalya Film Forum had great success all around the world, and we're gonna have a couple of them in our competition also this year. Right. And since the Antalya Film Forum is about the post-production and writing phase, and since we were becoming so successful in such a short period, we said that okay, now it's time to start Film Tomorrow, TMR, Film Talent and Marketing Rounds, we call it. And Film Tomorrow will help people from the industry to show their films, which cannot be screened, or which is not on the movie theaters yet, or which is not in the film festival, because of so many reasons. We are providing this festival center in order them to make their meetings, their acquisitions, their they can show their films here to the industry people. Mm-hmm. And they will be on the television channels, worldwide distributors, catalog to see the films. Right. This is how they're gonna be promoted using our festival.
Those are all very exciting developments for cinema professionals, but there is also a lot of fun going on, such as the so-called Festival Road. What else is going on at the festival this year?
I think, actually, we think that cinema has all the emotions, all the actions inside of it. One you see, you laugh, one you see, you cry. And we thought that we have to reflect this in the real life also. We should have fun, we should meet, we should discuss, sometimes we should fight with each other around this film festival. So we said that there's this criticism coming for so many years saying that the film festival is not spreading around the city. The only way to spread the film festival around the city is to promote it and to make people, to give reasons people to come to the festival. One reason is the solid one, which is film festival, is the films. The other reason is supposedly the events. But the events, since we didn't have a festival center until now, the events were so much inside of the 2 movie theaters. So we said that let's spread it since we have this festival center. And this festival road will provide the public to come and see the famous people, to spend time together with them, to get pictures, photographs, to talk to them and make them sign their books or films or DVDs, whatever they have in their hands. And they will have the chance to connect with those people.
Right, I was going to say this is a very public-oriented festival. I mean,
Yes.
there's like 5 categories that they can actually vote for, and it's very interactive. That's something you cultivate intentionally, of course.
Exactly. The reason that I'm so, I'm taking this so serious because as a producer, getting the public award is one of the most important things for me. For example, like 10 years ago in Adana, with one of my films, we got this audience award, and everybody was like, okay, award is great, but what else? And I said, this is it. I really am concentrating on this one, and this means that our film will be successful public-wise, and it happened like that. So for 2 reasons. From the point of view of a producer, I feel like it's the very most important thing. And from the point of view of a cinema goer of Antalya people, I feel like I will be contributing to a film as giving my vote, and I will be so proud when I'm going to see it on the stage, which will be coming because of my votes.
Great.
Yeah.
The director of the Antalya Film Festival, Elif Dağdevran, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bilge Friedlander was a Turkish artist whose work used the most basic forms and shapes in the world to ask complex questions. An exhibition curated by her daughter, Myra Friedlander, looks at her journey.
Lines and squares. They seem so simple, but they provoked many questions for Turkish artist Bilge Friedlander. Were they created by man? What do they say about human beings? About our place in the world? The exhibition Words, Numbers, Lines in Istanbul takes visitors through Friedlander's journey to answer those questions through her artwork.
In this show, you'll see Bilge's examination of the square and the line and how it expresses our human presence inside nature, which is something she continues to study until the end of her life. It's the bedrock of her work.
Friedlander's research included the infinite possibilities of a line, a torn line, and a square that defies gravity.
She has this definition of mutations, mutated lines, and she makes games in perception of the viewer. What is the life of a lifespan of a line, for example? Where does it start? Where does it end? What is its connection to horizon? So how can I continue a line with another material? So there is this kind of research that she was deeply engaged in her studio.
In her later works, Friedlander decided to explore nature by itself, untouched by man. She shared her findings through a book. She had a story to tell, but she didn't do it through words, but blank paper folded over sand.
Book was important to her as human telling about human to other humans, such as the cave paintings. So for her, not the form necessarily. I mean, today we produce the books in the form that we all know, but human beings started producing these books
or this source of information to other humans in different forms. So here in this expanded book, as he calls, in this installation, she creates a book that sort of tells about her experience by this Aita river.
Words, Numbers, Lines is the first solo exhibition of Friedlinder's work since her death in 2000. It can be viewed at the Arte Art Space until January the 15th.
A Spaniard living in the West Bank is bringing her two homes together by starting a new business. It encourages people to put themselves in somebody else's shoes.
Sarai Metellus initially came to the West Bank to teach Spanish. She stayed on and started her own business. It combines her culture with that of the Palestinians. It also puts shoes on your feet.
4 months ago, I brought the typical spandrilla soles from Barcelona, which is the place I've been born, and I decided to mix with the Palestinian fabric to make something symbolic here in Palestine, and this is how I start the brand I choose.
Metellus learned to make shoes in Spain 3 years ago. Her latest creations are covered in traditional Palestinian embroidery and are on sale online and at a gallery in Ramallah.
I think it's great, especially as the world is getting more global, to bring different ideas together. I think it's a beautiful thing, and it's meaningful, especially in a place like this where there's so much tension, to like bring different cultures together. I like that.
For the gallery's director, Metellus is putting the best foot forward for cultural exchange.
There are always exchanges of cultures and history. Culture was built by different civilizations, and everyone continues by learning from the one before it. This is a nice and important venture, and I hope that it will develop.
Metellus' business is certainly a step in the right direction.
Alexa Mead is making two-dimensional looking paintings by using three-dimensional objects, including human bodies. Her unique artwork is getting attention from around the world by surprising, confusing, and impressing its viewers.
Painting taken to another level. Alexa Mead calls them living paintings. She paints the bodies of her subjects from head to toe, then puts them around other objects which she also paints. But she does it in a way that makes them look two-dimensional, a technique known as trompe-l'œil, meaning trick of the eye. It creates an optical illusion, making it hard for the viewer to distinguish between where the painting ends and where real life begins.
If I were to think about how to paint a person on canvas, I would paint that directly on their body. And so I would include all the shadows, the highlights, stray brushstrokes, colors, and I also wrap in the background too. The painted person works without the background, but it also adds to the effect a lot to be able to see the figure emerging from the canvas.
Mead paints every exposed part of her human subjects, including toes, hair, and legs. Her technique is winning her commissions from around the world, and she's being hired by companies like Ralph Lauren and Mercedes-Benz. But she didn't start off as an artist.
I didn't study art, I studied politics. And one day I had this idea, and I wanted to know what it would look like to put black paint down on shadows. And then from there I realized that if I painted colors on top of colors in the real world, I can make the 3D space look like a two-dimensional painting.
Her work has impressed art experts like Michael Schwartz.
When a woman like this comes along and challenges the standard and creates something so unusual and so different, and so unique because it's conceptual. It doesn't exist beyond the hour or two that she creates it. Once it's created, it can instantly break up. It's not there. And that's a really important thing for an artist who has the courage to do something that isn't going to be around. It's impermanent.
But Mead does take photos of her finished work, recording her colourful living canvases just before they become history.
And that's all we have time for on this edition of Showcase, coming to you from the 53rd International Antalya Film Festival. I'm Özlem Işıtan from all of us here at the festival. Thank you for watching and see you next time.